everyone, it's Jordan, and today I'm going to be talking about my spring book haul. This book haul is really huge because I've gotten so many books, and I know I'm definitely going to be in a book buying ban once I do another book haul. Hopefully it'll go really well. So since there's so over like 20 books in this book haul, I don't want to make this intro any longer, so let's get started. The first book I got is Scythe by Neil Shusterman. I mentioned this in my reading vlog, my last reading vlog during spring break, and I'll link it down below so you guys can check it out. I've heard great things about it. It's about this world where there's no diseases or sickness. Everybody's all healthy pretty much, but the only way to kill a person is scythes. So I just got into it because I heard good things about it. Plus it's a dystopian or utopian. I don't know what it is, but I definitely want to get into it because of that. The next book I got is The Bells by Dhonielle Clayton. This book is about this girl who's one of the bells, and everybody's great, and the bells have the power to give beauty, and this girl, Camilla, wants to be the royals' favorites, but she later finds out being a favorite is not as it seems. I actually got interested in this book because Epic Reads said if you like Black Panther, you would like this many books, and this was #1, so I was like, yeah, I definitely want to read it. Plus, I want to read Dice's first book since I've heard good things about a lot of them. I'm a type of person who likes to learn different cultures, so I definitely want to see characters that are like different from me, so I thought The Bells would be perfect for it. The next book I got is The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett. This is one of the classics I've been wanting to read since I've seen the movie, and this is a Barnes & Noble Classics edition. It's really beautiful, and oh, I didn't notice the end papers are flowers. That's really pretty. I've always wanted to read it since I've seen like 2 different movie versions. There was an animated version, and then there was 1990s live action one, so I definitely want to read this, hopefully in the summer, even though my summer starts in May, but I prefer summer to be starting June. But since spring would be almost over, since there's flowers on the cover, I probably would want to get into it as soon as possible. The next book I got is The Wicked Deed by Shea Ernshaw. This is one of my most anticipated releases of this year, and they said it's like Hocus Pocus. It's about like 3 sisters who are witches who are like possessing girls and killing boys, and there's one girl, I'm trying to remember the synopsis, but I definitely want to read this. Plus the cover is gorgeous, and so is underneath, so I definitely want to get into this book, hopefully really soon, but I definitely want to get into it. The next book I got is I Hate Everyone But You by Gabby Dawn and Ellison Riskin. I also have good things about it. I don't remember what the book's about, but all I know is this book is told by text and email, so I definitely would like to see books that are stories that are told in a different format. So yeah, and plus I like the cover because it has an iPhone on a cover, but I'm definitely really interested to read it. And the 5 books that I mentioned, they were in my reading vlog. Again, I'll link it down below so you guys can check it out. The next 2 books I got, they were from Easter, and the first book I got for Easter is Crave the Mark by Veronica Roth. This is one of Veronica Roth's new series. I've been wanting to get into it since I've heard about them, plus I love Divergent by Veronica Roth, so I definitely want to dive on in, hopefully this summer, but I mean, who knows. I definitely want to read her new newest series, Duology, just because I want to know how she, yeah, I know I'm like really interested in reading all of those books that I mentioned, but I definitely want to get into it since I've read Veronica Roth's works. The next book I got for Easter is Stalking Jack the Ripper by Carrie Maniscalco. I've been hearing good things about this series, especially the sequel, and I think it's a historical fiction, but I've been really interested in the story, and I definitely want to, hopefully I'll end up liking it. I mean, I'm pretty sure I want to like all the books I mentioned in this book haul, but I definitely heard good things about the series, and especially with the third one coming out, I kind of want to get into the series. The next few books I actually got some from Book Outlet, and the first one is The Diabolic by S.J. Kincaid. It's about this girl who's like a protector or whatever, and she's undercover as the main girl that they're after to kill or whatever. But I got interested because of the cover, because the butterfly's like half robots, so I'm guessing this is sci-fi, but I definitely want to get into it. Plus, like I said, I like the cover, so I definitely want to get into it as well. I know I'm probably going to say this a bunch of times in this book haul. The next book I got from Book Outlet is Royce Rules by Margaret Stohl. I think it's about this girl who's like a reality TV show star or whatever, but I kind of got an interest because the cover again and the summary grabbed my interest, so I definitely want to get into it. The next book I got from Book Outlet is Ice Like Fire by Sarah Rosh. I have the first book, Snow Like Ashes, but I haven't read the book yet, but I definitely want to get into it this summer so I can go right into the sequel. Plus, I heard good things about the series, so yeah. The next book I got from Book Outlet is Da Vinci's Tiger by L.M. Eliot. I've been wanting to get into historical fiction since I'm really picky when it comes to historical fiction, but this grabbed my interest because it takes place in the Renaissance, and I love the Renaissance because of Shakespeare. That's pretty obvious, but I definitely want to read more historical fiction, and I thought this would be a perfect historical read since it takes place in the Renaissance, one of my favorite time periods. The next historical fiction book that I got from Book Outlet is Walk on Earth as Stranger by Ray Carson. I've heard good things about this book, plus it takes place during a gold rush, and it's about this girl who can sense where the gold is. That kind of grabbed my interest since it has fantasy elements to it, since there's a girl that senses where the gold is, so that kind of grabbed my interest. Plus, I have not read anything about the gold rush before, except for like history class, but I definitely want to read historical fiction that takes place in different time periods, so I thought I would read this one as well. The next book I got is Cross Your Heart and Hope to Die by Sarah Shepard. This is a sequel to the Lion Game series. I've been wanting to read the whole series since I've read the first book, and I've been trying to get the rest of them so I can read it since I already collected all the Pretty Liars books so I can read it. I know it took me a long time to read them, but I definitely want to read the Lion Game as, yeah. The last book I got from Book Outlet is Girls Made of Snow and Glass by Melissa Bestar-Doubt. I can't pronounce it. Let me know in the comments down below so I can pronounce it properly, but I've heard it's a retelling of Snow White, but it just grabbed my interest because the cover is really beautiful, especially like the background with the icicles, but yeah, it's like a retelling of Snow White, but I've been reading some fairy tale retellings lately, so I definitely want to read different ones, so I thought this would be a good read for me. And there are two books that I got from subscription boxes, and the first one is Ink Iron Glass by Gwendolyn Clare. It's about this girl who lived in a fantasy world called Vendana, I think that's what it's called. Vendana. and she's a scriptologist, meaning there are people that can create a world by ink and paper. And then her world gets destroyed, and then she ends up being stuck in Victorian Italy. So I'm currently reading it. I'm almost done with it. I like it so far. I have minor issues with it. I probably will talk about it more when I'm doing my monthly wrap-up and TBR. Hopefully, I'm gonna finish it, but most likely not. But I'm still trying my. But I'm liking the series. So I'm liking the book so far. It's a first book in a duology, I think. So I'm not saying I don't like it so far, but I'm liking it. It's just I have a little bit of issues with it. So yeah. I also got this from March Uppercase. And the last book I got from a subscription box, and I got this from Owlcrate, which is Heart of Iron by Ashley Poston. I actually read Geekerella by Ashley Poston, and I loved it. And this one is a retelling of Anastasia, and that's all I know about. And I've been wanting to read more sci-fi books, and I thought this would be a good read. Plus, since it's an exclusive Owlcrate, I have purple sprayed edges, and this one has the gold font, and the regular has the white. But I'm definitely excited to read it, so I'm hoping to read this as soon as possible. The next book I got is Autobiography by Christina Lauren. And it's about this boy who is in a creative writing class, and then he ends up falling in love with a boy in his creative writing class. One of my friends, I forgot who on Twitter, I'll leave, but she recommended to me because I was asking people, what should I get at Barnes & Noble since I got a gift card for Easter, and she recommended this to me, and I was been wanting to read it since I've heard good things about it, so I'm like, yeah, I definitely will buy it. The next book I got is To Kill a Kingdom by Alexa Cresto. I've heard it's a good, a dark retelling of The Little Mermaid, but I'm just intrigued by it, just by the title and synopsis, so I definitely want to read this as soon as possible if I'm in the mood for it. And the next book I got is History Is All You Left of Me by Adam Silvera. It's about this boy whose ex-boyfriend died in a drowning accident, and then the only guy he can talk about his grief is his ex's new boyfriend. I've been wanting to read books with LGBT because I just been wanting to read a different kind of romance, and I definitely been intrigued by it. Plus, I hope it'll be a good story, and plus I've heard good things about it, so hopefully I'll end up liking it. The next two books I got is actually by the same author, which is Great and Terrible Beauty and The Diviners by Leba Bray. I've heard good things about this series. Like, I kind of like this cover better than the new one for The Diviners, and I've heard good things about this series too. They're both historical fictions, and like I said, I've been wanting to read more historical fiction, and this takes place in the 1920s, and I'm not sure which one this takes place. I could be wrong if this is historical fiction, but I definitely have heard good things about these two books, so I definitely want to get into them. The next book I got is Winter by Marissa Meyer. This is the last book in the Luna Chronicles series. I'm loving the series. I just finished listening to Scarlet. I'm loving the series as far as I've read, and I bet I'm going to love the rest of them. And this is a retelling of Snow White. I've been wanting to get this since I'm listening to them on audiobooks, so I'm like, I gotta read the rest of the series on audiobook, so I had to get Winter, so yeah. The book I got is first of a middle grade series, which is the Land of Stories, and the first book is called The Wishing Spell by Chris Colfer. I've heard it's like Once Upon a Time, and I love the TV show Once Upon a Time, and I've heard good things about the series. I've been just wanting to read middle grade just because it's like any other books. Every book deserves a chance to read, so I'm like, yeah, I want to read more middle grade, so I'm definitely interested in this book because it's like Once Upon a Time, and like I said, I love Once Upon a Time. The next book I've got is A List of Cages by Robin Rowe. It's about this boy who's like an assistant school social worker for his high school, and then he runs into his foster brother after so many years of after seeing him, and then he finds out his foster brother has a secret that he doesn't want to tell anybody, I think, but I've heard good things about it, and another booktuber friend recommended this to me. I don't remember who, but they said it's good, so I'm like, if they like it, hopefully I'll like it. And the next middle grade that I got, I know the previous book that I said isn't a middle grade, is YA, but this next book is A School of Good and Evil by Saman Chainani. I'm sorry if I mispronounce the author's name. I've been interested in the book for so long because of the cover. I mean, it's beautiful, and I've heard this girl is in the school for good and this one's for evil, so they were supposed to be the way opposites, but then they end up going on the wrong side of the school. But I really find it, the schools or the story sounds really interesting to me, and again, the cover is really beautiful, and I've been interested in the books for so long, and I haven't gotten into them, and I thought, and I know Aisha from a chapter of Aisha also recommended this to me, and since she said it was a good series, I'm like, if she, I definitely should check it out, so here it is. The next book I got is Three Dark Crowns by Kendare Blake. It's about these three sisters who were that are triplets, and each of them have different powers, and then when they hit 16, I think, they end up fighting over the throne to the death. I actually found this really interesting because it's kind of like a Hunger Games-esque, but it's fantasy, and I love fantasy, and each of the sisters I think, if I remember correctly, one of them controls nature, and the other one's a poisoner, and the other one controls animals, I think. I'm not really sure, but I definitely want to get into a series since I've heard good things about it, and I love the crowns on the cover. They're really beautiful, so yeah, I definitely want to get into it as soon as possible since the sequel just came out last year. The next book I got is Ever the Brave by Aaron Semerald. This is a sequel to Ever the Hunted. I've been wanting to read Ever the Hunted for so long, but I haven't been in the mood for it, but I definitely want to read it soon because the cover for the sequel is beautiful, plus I'm not sure if you're able to see underneath, it has a crown. Yeah, you can kind of see it, so I'm definitely wanting to, and I thought this would be a good way for me to read the first book. Hopefully I'll end up liking it, but I've heard good things about the first book, so yeah. The next book I got is 13 Rising by Ramona Russell. I've heard, this is the last book of the Zodiac series. I love the Zodiac series, and I'm sad it ended, but I'm definitely excited. I'm definitely going to be rereading the whole series before I get to this, but I'm definitely excited for the conclusion. Book I got, this might be crazy to you, that I'm a huge fan of the series for so long, and that is The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. This is the UK edition. I just love it because it's different than the US one, plus the Mockingjay is in the S or HG, and I definitely love that, so I'm gonna be getting the rest of the trilogy and UK edition because I love the series so much, and I'm definitely a fan of both of the covers. The next book I got is Daughter of the Burning City by Amanda Foody. This is about this girl who can create illusions, and then someone ends up killing the illusions. I've heard good things about this book, plus it reminds me of Caraval a bit because it has the circus, like as you can see on the cover, as a circus. And Amanda Foody just came out with a new book called Ace of Shades, and I definitely want to read that, so I definitely want to get into this before her newest book. The last book in my book haul. I have to say this for last because it's one of my anticipated releases of this year. Plus, the one I've been mostly excited for is Auslan by Wendy Spinelli. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited about it. I'm sad it's a trilogy, but I'm definitely like, I gotta marathon this trilogy because I cannot wait to read this late, like next year or something. But I definitely want to read. And this is a retelling of The Wizard of Oz, and I'm definitely want to reread Everland and then read Umberland, and then this one I'm just too excited about it. So yeah, I'm excited to read Ozland as soon as I read Umberland. So that's all for my huge spring book haul. Let me know in the comments down below which of the books I should get to, because I definitely want to, hopefully I'll get to some of these in the summer, since I have like a 3.5 month summer break from college. And if you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up, and I already said what to say in the comments down below. And if you want to follow me on social media, I have Facebook under Lost Reader, and I have Twitter and Instagram and Lost Reader 19. I also have Goodreads, so these books are definitely been on my want to read list and Goodreads. So yeah, and if you enjoy my channel, hit subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!